Okay. We might be live. Let's see here. Let me check all our channels to see if we are good. Hello out there if anyone's jumping on. Good, we are live on Facebook. I'm checking all the channels tonight to confirm. I'm checking all the channels to confirm that we are live on all the channels because we got scrubbed last night on YouTube. So good, everyone's jumping on. Looks like Facebook, a few Twitter, so good. Periscope is going. Excellent. Wonderful. People are jumping on. Pennsylvania. Welcome, everybody. Good. So that is going. I'm actually just, real quick, I'm checking YouTube because that's where okay, so I am live on all channels. I was live last night on YouTube and it got completely scrubbed. So welcome Iowa, Minnesota, Buffalo, New York, Ohio, Nebraska. Excellent. Jumping on. People are coming on. Excellent. South Carolina, Missouri. Wonderful. Hello, everybody. Canandaigua. Beautiful. Dr. Jason Dean, Revolution Network, your source for health, freedom, knowledge, all the above. We have to save America, save the planet. That is what you're going to help me do. And I'd like to first give a shout out to Dr. McFadden, who should be on here somewhere at some point. Dr. Tim McFadden, who is a chiropractor, and he, a couple weeks ago or so, said to me, I want to provide you with a couple t-shirts. And so, thank you, Dr. Tim McFadden. I picked this as one of the shirts to wear regarding this whole crazy, chaotic pandemic we're in, straight out of China. So, Dr. McFadden, thank you very much. He has one more he sent me, which maybe I'll wear that tomorrow night. But that is from him. So that is my t-shirt that I'm going to wear this weekend, so everyone can pick up on the message. Wonderful. Where can we get the shirt? I will have Dr. McFadden let you know where you can get this shirt at. I'm sure he'll post something. So, yes. Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. How is everybody doing today? It is a busy night, busy day. I have a little bit less from President Trump tonight and a lot more of other stuff that you've been asking for. So I hope that helps. So, first of all, I see people all day long as a chiropractor. And one of the questions I get is school. Now, many of you are home right now, homeschooling, and you either love it or you don't love it. So I have a lot of teachers that are coming to me. I've had a lot of teachers for a long period of time as patients. I need to give you this message about school. I do not think school will ever go back to completely normal as you know it. So we've talked about homeschooling and different things like that. But I'm talking about school. So there's public school and there's college and universities. Let me first start with colleges and universities. I don't think colleges and universities, I don't think they'll be back before the end of the year. Now maybe fall at best, but I don't necessarily think they go back until next year. Now, follow my logic on this one. First of all, I think the university system is completely flawed. It's destructive. It's basically a liberal ideology. That's 90+%. There's obviously a population out there that are really good colleges and universities teaching critical thinking, good morals, good ethics, good values, good education, etc. I'm talking about the majority, okay? The majority are overpriced, and they basically have you paying for a piece of paper at the end, which ends up being mostly worthless because you can get an education anywhere at this point, and you don't need college to be smart. You don't need college to be wealthy. You don't need college to be successful, okay? You can go out there and pay for a $200,000 education right now, even a $100,000 education, and get a $30,000 a year entry-level position, and it might take you years to get up to something where you're actually making more money. With that said, the other thing you're going to see is you have massive colleges and universities all over the country that make tons of money. But the other thing they're going to realize is, as all these kids are at home, they're going to realize that they could potentially cut staff because they don't need as many people teaching because it's online virtual classes at this point. But also, all that money being paid into your kids and you footing the bill for college or university, they're saving money on you right now. Meaning, say the average student pays, say let's go low, $50,000 for their education over 4 years, which is very low. That times however many students they have on campus, you just took the greatest expense away, which was kids on campus. When you take kids off campus, the college university's expenses goes way down. If you don't think the president and the director of academics and all the people at the admin level who are making six-figure salaries don't know that, I think they're going to try to find a way to either limit costs coming back, or they may try to do more virtual schooling. So this is the crazy part. University of Florida down here, where my wife went to, they actually have tons of virtual schooling. They have degrees that are just virtual schools. I know there's other colleges out there doing the same thing. I don't know which ones they are, but they are. So I think you might actually see universities shut down or cut themselves almost in half or maybe more, because virtual schooling will become a thing of the future where they don't need people. They don't need kids on campus. They also don't need as many professors. I think the same thing could happen for public schools as well. Now, I don't know how that looks necessarily because there's so many public school students. However, the virtual school thing is going to take off, and the same thing at the public level is they're going to realize how much money they can save by not having students on location. Okay, now people are going to say, okay, that's jobs lost. Guys, we are heading into a brand new economy over the next year, 5 years, 10 years, meaning our economy will never look the same again. We're going to have new jobs in new places, new industries that we're going to flip the planet upside down. We're flipping an economy upside down. I mean, this is going to be an amazing new world, and I think that people are going to see that homeschooling, but also not even just homeschooling, virtual schooling is going to be a brand new thing. I already know it's a thing. It's been a thing for a while. I'm talking about widespread. They're going to want to educate you from home. And at the same time, you're going to have businesses out there. So a lot of you are working from home right now. There's going to be a lot of corporations out there who spend a lot of money to have brick and mortar headquarters where they realize they can save money by having you be at home. And it brings into question this thing we call the 40-hour work week. Now, I honestly don't remember the last time I worked a 40-hour work week. I probably put in anywhere from 60 to 100 hours a week, depending on what I'm doing, because I have multiple things that I work on at one time. But quite honestly, I was once in the corporate world, right? And I had the 40-hour work week. And I will tell you, at least 20 of those 40 hours were wasted on mindless meetings that executives wanted us to come into, where we got nothing accomplished. If I compressed my entire week of where I actually got work done and was actually focused on getting something done, it was honestly 10, 15, maybe 20 hours a week. I think you're going to see people in the corporate world that are typically used to their 40 hours a week. I think you're going to see those companies push them to home because they have less expenses, but also they know that people can be more efficient and get more work done. It's kind of like a salesperson who doesn't really spend 40 hours a week. I used to be around salespeople all the time. I was in sales where I had salespeople who worked 10 hours a week. They made six figures easily, and they were on the golf course and traveling the other half to three quarters of the time. So I think this is going to be a complete change into how we do business, how we do school. So if you think that everyone's just going to go back to school and everything's going to be back to normal, I do not think that's going to happen. I do not think that's going to work. And plus, honestly, you're going to not want to go back to work, into the workplace necessarily. You might go back in for a few hours a week, or they might have you go in for a certain amount of time. But even students, like, you're going to tell all the college students at once to go back to school. I don't know that that's going to happen, okay? Moving on, I think we're also going to be seeing a divided two populations in the United States going forward. You're going to see the people like all of us who want to get back to work, who want to go do things, who want to be productive, right? There are people literally, like, I work every, so let me give you a snapshot of how this works. People are afraid to go to work because of the virus. So I'm a doctor. I work with quote unquote technically unhealthy people all day long, every single day, right? And if anyone could be potentially in, connection with any of this stuff, it would be someone like me. And guess what? For the last 6 weeks this has been going on, I have not worn a mask once out and about or in my office. So am I willing to work the way I'm working? Absolutely. Other people are willing to go back to work knowing either, one, this virus isn't as bad as they said it was, or they have false numbers. So you have that population that wants to get back to work. You're also going to have the population, which is the majority of population, who they are going to try to force the stay-at-home mandates. Even Michigan. So I don't know if you saw this, Michigan. After they protested and they got their way that they'd open up by May 1st, now the protesters left, and Governor Whitmer has said that she's going to extend it, I think, a couple weeks into May. So they're going to be a big problem. Michigan might actually protest again. And I know there's a lot of protests going to be going on between now and May 1st. I just talked to someone today that I might bring on for an interview who's actually helping with that stuff, because we want to bring about the Peaceful Revolution 2.0 to different states. So this is what could happen, but you might split into two populations. One that is in fear at all time, and that's all it is fear, who are going to be afraid to come out of their house, who are going to be wearing masks everywhere, and then you're going to have us who know what this is all about, who are going to be going out there producing. And there will be, hopefully not physical altercations, obviously we don't want that at all, but there are going to be, there's going to be an effort, counter effort there, because at the end of the day, you're going to have people, these people are in fear. These people are watching CNN, MSNBC, Fox, they're watching all of this fear porn all day, every single day. And then you have us out there, and trust me, there's millions of us out there who don't watch it, know what's really going on, and are ready to go back to work, get things done, and be productive. Which brings me to, and I might offend some people with this one, it brings me to the always gift that keeps on giving, AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. So I am of the opinion that either she is, and this is in no way a reflection on any other female out there, she is either the dumbest individual on the face of the planet, or she's a plant by the Republican Party and she's doing all this as an act, because she is going on to media networks and her social media saying, we should all stay at home longer because how dare we do not want to let this virus get to us, and the government should be doing more for us. That's what she's saying. She was on another, I didn't see which network it was on tonight, but I saw on Twitter someone shared that she was actually on a network tonight talking about how we need to demand our government to allow us to stay at home and they continue to pay us paychecks. Now, I know where she's coming from. However, again, either she's a plant. I can't really comprehend the words that come out of her mouth, because I can't handle stupidity. I don't do well with it in my life. I'll be honest with you. I'm a very logical thinker. I can become emotional just like the best of them. But the way she talks, let me tell you, if any of you would like to run for political office in your area or your state, whether it be a representative or a senator, I will tell you, every single one of you out there watching this right now and who are going to watch it, you are smarter than politicians like that. You're probably smarter, common sense wise, than at least 75% of the politicians that we have in office nationwide. Okay? Just so you know. I have said in the past that I don't necessarily want to run for office. I do not leave it out, but it's not something I'm going after right now necessarily. I would never say never, but if we continue having these idiots in office, then we might need to do something about it, because someone like that, unless they're a plant, again, not fit for office. Just not mentally fit for office. I mean, Joe Biden's not meant fit for office because he has dementia and he has, God only knows what else is going on in his head. But I wanted to bring that up because that is something very big. Now, pharma is lying to you. Big pharma is absolutely 100% lying to you. And at some point, they're going to get caught in their lie. I don't know if you've noticed this or not, but have you ever had a child who blatantly told you a falsity or a lie? Like, you asked her a question, and they kind of stated something wasn't fully true, and you start pulling the string, and after a while, they're getting very uncomfortable in their skin because you can tell something's not right. This is what Big Pharma is doing right now, okay? They are caught in the lie on the hydroxychloroquine. They're caught in the lie on HIV/AIDS. They're caught in the lie on COVID-19. They're caught in the lie on the vaccine. And now they're caught in the lie on the flu and many other things, right? So Burke says the other day that there's no more flu, apparently out of thin air. And then they're pushing the flu vaccine again. Now, a lot of people will ask, why is Trump going along with that? Again, I'm just going to say optics at this point. That's all I can guess. But Fauci is pushing the flu vaccine, pushing this might come back around in the fall or the winter, etc. They're caught in their lie. Big Pharma, CDC, NIH, FDA, you name it, HHS, right now they are caught in the lie just like a little kid, and they're circling the wagon trying to cover up every corner of this lie, because if this lie gets out, pharmaceutical companies crash and burn. Now, that does not mean we'll never have pharmaceuticals. There's a time and place for emergency medicine and emergency pharmaceuticals that we might need, right? However, obviously they are completely corrupt at this point. It is completely out of control, and they are circling the wagons to try to not allow their lie out the door. And at some point, this fib is going to erode and crash and implode. And so I think you're going to see it at some point, and this is also where that divide comes. The people who want to get back to work and don't care about a virus because they know there's something going on with it, and then the people who are completely in fear porn. If you're in fear all the time, you are more likely to get sick because you're stressing out, your nervous system is lowering, and you're going to take on all of this stuff. That's why when you look around, when you have people who are constantly stressed, they're the ones who are not doing well. They're the ones that get sick. You have people who are not stressed or who know how to work with their stress or know how to handle it. You don't see them sick all the time. That's just how it works, okay? Stimulus money. So the president has unlimited stimulus money. Be prepared. Be prepared. Over the next probably month, maybe less, maybe more, you're going to see the president ask for a gigantic amount of money. And I think this money might be to rebuild the entire infrastructure of the United States of America. I think that's where that's going. It could be, we're talking trillions of dollars. He keeps mentioning the $8 trillion that we spent in, it's straight out of China, just so you know. I sometimes catch the comments out of my peripheral vision, so I wanted people to know that's what the shirt said. Be prepared for a gigantic amount of money, fiat money, to be spent on the U.S. infrastructure. This is what I see happening, okay? Again, I don't know when, I don't know how, I just see it occurring. That's also potentially the transition into sound money and most likely a gold standard. I also think you'll have oil prices change via state. Okay, I'm not going to go into all that right now because that's something new, but we're going to find that out. Okay, good. Now let's dive into some cool stuff tonight. Okay, these are some things you guys have been asking me for. I'm going to give you the time travel Project Looking Glass 101 tonight. We're not going to go down the whole rabbit hole because there's a whole lot more to go down and I need more time. And then I'm going to give you the Deep Underground Military Base 101. Again, a very deep subject, no pun intended, that I will go into far more as we go, but I want to give you as much as I probably already can, okay? So, here's Project Looking Glass or time travel. Now, I'm going to let all of you know that some people this may not be real to. It may not be something that they can comprehend, and it's not an intelligence thing at all. It's just a reality thing. We live in a world where everyone, again, I talk about this, they get up, they eat breakfast, they go to work, they eat lunch, they eat dinner, they come home, they watch TV, they go to sleep, and they do that cycle all around the clock, and they live for every weekend instead of enjoying what they do. And for a lot of people, this is not going to be real at all, but I will tell you what I know, and I've been diving deeper into it. So time travel was discovered that was a long time ago. I mean, you look on, go watch the show Ancient Aliens. I don't love the show because of the drama, and they don't get to the point. I can research faster than they can, but they're obviously creating a television show. It was rediscovered back in the 1940s. Now, this actually, Tesla basically kind of accidentally figured it out, which was he was sitting in between his energy experiments where the electricity was going all around him. You can see images of it online. And what he saw while he was sitting there, he said that he could see the past, he could see the present, but then he could also see the future all at one time, literally around him. Okay, so something to do with the electricity in the air and the ether around us, that he could see stuff. Now, if you didn't know, go research Tesla. Tesla was a genius at a whole different level, okay? Now, he knew how good this technology was, all the technology he founded or created, and all the inventions, but he wanted it used for good. He didn't want it used for bad. He knew at the time that government was not necessarily doing good things. And so this was first tried by the government, who the government basically told him they promised they would do good things with it, and then they went back on their promise, which is not surprising. The Montauk Project, okay? They had a Navy ship, all right? Now, the Navy ship basically speculated, obviously we weren't there, potentially disappeared, or the sailors on it disappeared, okay? And then they came back. And when they came back, they had headaches and were very sick, meaning the experiment, obviously they were experimenting. It did not go as well as they wanted to. Okay, this was all created by what we call today the shadow military, or behind the scenes black ops, etc. Now, keep in mind what Tesla was working on then and what they were experimenting with is now part of the space program / Space Force. They've been working with this the whole time. Space Force is not something new. They just happened to unveil it to you at this point. But Space Force has been going on for a long time back. They are using particle acceleration. So you've heard of CERN, C-E-R-N. That is actually part of time travel. Okay, they're messing with particles faster than the speed of light. Many people think that Einstein was a genius. Einstein only got to a certain level, and there are people above him like Tesla. Einstein got stuck. Einstein was actually believed to be paid off by the deep state, meaning he was actually part of that whole thing, maybe towards the end, okay? They did this using a Van de Graaff generator. You can go look that up. But on top of that, Tesla and John Trump were friends. John G. Trump, who was actually President Trump's uncle. Okay, it's actually documented that they were friends. Okay, now guess who got a hold of all these secrets? It was actually MIT. Tesla would make all of these puzzles and all of these experiments, but he did not want them getting into the wrong hands. Instead, what he did, he told Trump about these. John Trump actually found out about Tesla and thought he was fascinating, and so actually wanted to work with him. And Tesla knew this was going to go down the very wrong road, and so Tesla would complete all the experiments, but he'd leave out small pieces of the experiment. And guess who had the last piece of the puzzle, the last pieces of the puzzle to the experiments? It's believed that that was John Trump. So he may have actually had all of that information, okay? All the wireless information they're working off today, all the stuff you've seen, comes from two different sources. Okay, one is definitely Tesla, and two, it is speculated on that it's ETs. We're going to go into that a little bit more, as if when we do the D.U.M.B.S. Okay, I want to be careful with that one again, though. We're going to go a little different on the D.U.M.B.S. because when you go down that road, you can't not look at essentially the ET aspect of it. Okay, now a lot of people ask about time travel, and this is where, and I know a little bit about this, but I don't know super deep. I'll have to do more research on it, and I can bring you more information. But that is the possibility, and you may have heard of this before, but multiverse, which is different universes going on at the same time, different time tracks, etc. And it is very possible that we are doing the whole multiverse. And I've actually heard from other people that currently what we're in right now is we have two different time tracks that are slowly coming together, and when they get together, that's where everything comes together in this game that is being played out right now geopolitically. And then from there, it might split off again. So even before I said this is how it ties back, is you might have two different populations coming out of this. One group who is in fear, one group who is not in fear and is actually trying to be enlightened about what everything is going on behind the scenes for a long, long period of time. And as we go through this, one group might stay asleep to an extent, whereas this group moves forward, understands what's happening, and then long term, both will have to come to the agreement and the reality that we live in a very, very different world with a lot of stuff that has been shielded from our eyes for a very long time, okay? So that is kind of Project Looking Glass Time Travel 101. We'll go deeper into that, but that sometimes takes longer period of time. Might have to do a whole show on that. I don't actually know, okay? Now, for the D.U.M.B.S, otherwise known as D.U.M.B.S, okay? It's a weird name. These started in World War II. These were actually being built by the Nazis at the time, okay? And there is a piece of that I can't go into right now because it's a very dark piece, which I don't know if I'm going to be able to go into it at any point because it's a very controversial subject, and I do not want to get labeled anything by talking about that subject, and it challenges a lot of people's beliefs. So I've talked about that before, but that's a rabbit hole that is so dark you can't come back once you looked at it. Once you've seen it, and it's not a pleasant rabbit hole. So we'll maybe talk about that later, but I'm gonna be careful how I do that. Okay, I don't mean to stumble over what I'm saying right now, but I'm also very careful of I don't want to rock people's worlds too much if they're not ready for it. That is not my job here. My job is here to educate as much as possible, decode what's happening in the world a little bit, but also enlighten you a little bit already. And I'll figure out how we can do that, okay? Now, there are currently at least 200 plus underground bases. There used to be around 130, okay? These bases take billions of dollars to create. They have tunnels in between them. All right, the tunnels in between them have what are called maglev trains. These are built using magnets to make them travel. So one magnet will propel where one can go backwards, but also one pushes that basically keeps them evenly on the track. They sit barely just off the track, kind of hovering. It's magnets, and then they go as fast as Mach 2, meaning they can go from the northeast coast, like in New York, to Los Angeles in approximately 21 to 30 minutes. That's how fast they go. And these are as I looked this up and went through it, I have read from at least 5 different sources this same exact information. So when I go, okay, maybe not, when I start finding the same sources coming back from multiple different origins, you know something is pretty dead on. Now, they have to create these gigantic tunnels to have these maglev trains. All right. Now, you've probably seen them online. They're basically gigantic boars, like worms. They're not real worms, but metal. They're larger than houses. They're very large, and they can actually evaporate rock up to 7 miles a day, meaning they can create 7 miles of wormholes through the underground per day. And people say, well, what happens to the rock? As you're clearing rock out, what happens to it? They use lasers that are essentially nuclear lasers. They turn rock into liquid and they push it out of the way. And so they can do 7 miles in a day. It's very, very fast. Now, Hitler started this. As I've told you before in past videos, Project Paperclip, Operation Paperclip, they took Nazi scientists from Germany. When everything ended over there, these scientists, they actually brought over to America. This is why America has been under siege behind the scenes. They knew they could not create what they created over there out in the open. They had to do it underground at this point, or they had to do it in a stealth way, a quiet way, secret way, okay? They've been doing that here for the last 70, 80 years, whatever that is, whatever that time frame is. There is evidence that Nazis had UFOs. They reverse engineered UFOs. That's where all of this actually comes from. So when you hear this stuff and you think there's no way this is possible, this is all very possible. This has been going on for a very, very long time. At one point, President Eisenhower went off the grid for about a week, and he was actually underground meeting, potentially, as they say, and this is multiple sources, that he was meeting underground with other races from other planets, Majestic 12. They actually created a treaty to where they would exchange humans. Now you know why human trafficking is such a big deal. They would actually exchange humans for technology we have today. So all this cool technology, I don't have my phone on me at this point, but all this technology, they went back and forth. Yes, somebody wrote Hitler was a Rothschild. Hitler was a Rothschild. Hitler was not the gigantic dictator. Now when I say that, I don't mean he was good. What I'm saying is they built him up to be this gigantic person who's in charge of everything. No, he was a puppet. He was a puppet by the bankers. Okay, the bankers ran him just like they run every other dictator, right? That's how it works. Okay, so Project Paperclip, they brought people over. Okay, now these underground bases, what are they being used for? One is security. Okay, so everything from nuclear weapons to sensitive military operations to biowarfare like viruses and other things, bacteria, etc. High-end military training. They also, what happens is when there might be a problem in the U.S., the presidents, the executives, the higher-ups in politics are ushered to these areas to be protected. Okay, and these things go potentially upwards of 7 miles deep, and some sources say upwards of 20 miles deep. They actually have cities underground. So this is not something that's, you can go look this up too. This is not something that's hard to find necessarily. Obviously, look out for your different sources, where it's coming from, etc. Now, the other thing is secrecy, okay? They're doing research and development. I'm going to tell you a little bit about what the buildings look like underneath. There's actually architecture online you can find that actually show what they look like. They also use these things to work around the Constitution. So some of the things they're working on underneath ground, they could not have up top because it would be found out, it would be leaked out into the universe, or to America and the other countries that was going on. They're working on secret stuff all the time, just like Space Force, okay? Remember, these are black operations, black budget projects. Like, for example, the day before 9/11, when Donald Rumsfeld came out and had a press conference and said they were missing over $2 trillion that they couldn't find at the Pentagon. Well, the next day, a rocket hit the Pentagon and blew up the exact spot where those records would have been kept. That $2 trillion was never actually missing. It was used in black ops projects. Why do you think it was at the Pentagon? Okay, because the Pentagon runs those black ops. That's how that actually works. Now, where are some of these places located? Okay, and I'm going to go deeper into this a different night because there's so much information on these. The Cheyenne Mountain Complex, the Blue Ridge Mountains. Actually, FEMA was there in 1958, from what I found. Mount Weather, which the president and his executives go there if in any cases of any danger. They actually said that President Obama went to the Denver airport at one point in the last couple of years. I'll talk about Denver airport in a second. They have hospitals, they have cities, they have all these different things. They have the emergency broadcast system from there, so if something goes down, they can communicate to the public. Okay, this is all occurring. So the wormholes that I talked about are called subterranes. You can actually look that up. Okay, they're nuclear reactors that melt rock. Now, other places they have them. They have Los Alamos. They have Dulce. Some of you may have heard of Dulce before. Okay, go look up Dulce. That's where the Phil Schneider stuff comes from. Area 51, SA4 building, and then again Los Alamos and Dulce. So if you have never looked them up, you can go look up Bob Lazar. Bob Lazar has been on Joe Rogan podcast. Bob Lazar has been in documentaries. Bob Lazar talks all about the different things that he saw and that he went through. And Bob Lazar has no reason to lie. They've ruined him financially and career-wise. So he's not making any money off of this. He's actually uncovered all his financial records. He makes no money. The black ops people come after him all the time. They raid his places. They're looking for the different elements they think he has from the spaceships he says he saw and he touched, he worked on. All right, so Bob Lazar, look that one up. Bob Lazar is amazing. He was on Rogan podcast. Another one is Commander David Fravor. So if you haven't heard of him, he's a little quieter. Lazar is very quiet, but he does a little bit more documentaries and stuff just to get the word out. Commander David Fravor, go watch his Rogan podcast. So Joe Rogan completely does not agree and understand or believe in UFOs or anything like that. So he had both of them on, which he said helped him a lot. But Commander David Fravor was actually in a jet, piloting a jet. When he found a UFO in the air, he chased it down and he said, no, there's nothing that could travel the way that traveled. And he said that it was not military because he knows what goes on in the military. And there could only be one thing. He said he describes it different than a UFO. They have different words for it. But he said that was not of this planet. And again, he is not looking for fame. He actually doesn't love having to talk about it. But he went on national podcasts, on the Rogan podcast, and he talked about it. They actually went over the video that's online, and he discussed what he saw. And on top of that, you've seen me show the book before, which is called Behold the Pale Horse. William Cooper talks about the same exact thing. He talks about he saw ships coming out from underneath the ocean and then taking off in air, right? And he even said this stuff was not of the military. They did not have that stuff, right? He said this was not of this world. I don't know. A lot of people say that he swore these off at the end. No, he did not swear those off at the end. You can go look at all the videos where he talked about all of this stuff, okay? And he even talked about the New World Order and how they're trying to do things. And William Cooper was a genius, okay? Now, regarding the Dulce underground base, which is one of the most well-known ones, okay? There's actually sketches online where you can find out people who had seen it came out and they sketched out what it looked like and what the different levels were. So they were actually 7 stories tall but underground, and the first level you'd actually enter through just a regular door somewhere wherever Dulce is, and then when you went down it would take an elevator down to the actual platform, and then the first floor was security and communication. Second floor was housing because people actually stayed there who worked there, they lived there. Third floor was labs, meaning lab work. They were working on biowarfare. They were working on different stuff. God knows what they were working on. Some of it was probably not very good. Level 4 was for mind control. If you don't know what mind control is, start researching MK Ultra. MK Ultra is real. It's been talked about a lot now. Not even on the internet, but it's talked about on television at times, okay? If you watch the Bourne Identity trilogy, I think it's a trilogy, basically, that's MK Ultra. It's where you program somebody to do things that they were not originally going to do. The 5th story is extraterrestrials. Now, they talk about grays. I don't know if that's all there. I don't know all the information about that, but they do talk about that. Phil Schneider's talked about that. Others have talked about that. Paul Hellier's talked about that. All these people, military experts, military veterans have talked about that. You can see this stuff all over the place, and none of these people have anything to gain. They're not making money off of this, okay? So you have to start wondering what they're talking about, okay? The last 2 floors, number 6 is genetics. They've been working on genetics for the longest time ever. The global order wants your genetics. That is what they're going for, okay? There's a reason for that. That goes way back to Anunnaki stuff, okay? And then the last floor was cryogenics. So they're actually working with freezing bodies, freezing DNA, freezing all this different stuff, okay? I hope that helps. Now, Denver Airport. The Denver Airport is one of the creepiest places I've been. I think I've flown there a couple different times. The most recent a couple years ago. And it's very eerie. There are gargoyles in different areas, up like mounted gargoyles. There is a gigantic blue horse stallion in the front that has red eyes, or at least it had red eyes. They have Egyptian models all over the place. They have murals of kind of like apocalyptic scene where like a new world order comes through, military with masks, like a biowarfare situation, people dead. It's very, you have to go look at it. It's very, very morbid. But then all of a sudden it shows at the end a perfect world where all the nations and their kids give up their weapons, and then they have a wonderful, perfect utopia, which is technically a new world order with less people. And the Denver airport was, I think, originally supposed to be budgeted for like 1.8 or 1.5 billion dollars. It was done. It took forever, and I think they ended it somewhere between $4 and $5 billion, way over budget. It actually, the company that was building it or was funding it, if you look up the company doesn't exist, right? They don't know where the money came from. There is there's a plaque that says there's a time capsule underneath for Colorado, and then also it has a Freemason symbol, and it talks about a global order. So it is speculation that Denver is the largest underground base, and some of these bases are upwards of 5 square miles large underground. along with different tunnels and things like that. Okay, so Denver is very spooky. It's a very weird area. A lot of people who go there say the same exact things. There's also sounds that are heard through the airport that are very eerie, very strange. They don't make sense. And again, President Obama was taken there at one point during, I don't know what the event was, but he went off to Colorado and then he was off the radar for a while. So there is definitely stuff there. It's a strange place. I'm going to continue to go more into the D.U.M.B.S at a different time, but it's a very literally deep subject when it comes to rabbit holes, and you can't go into that subject without talking about human trafficking and ETs, UFOs. So that's why you have to sometimes be careful, because it's one of those rabbit holes that pulls out all of that different stuff, and some people get really freaked out by that stuff. They get really panicked. They don't like it, and so I try not to freak them out too much. Okay. Now, before we head out tonight, I want to make a little plea to all the moms out there. So, as we prepare for not the next week, not the next 2 weeks, not even the next month, because as I told you before, this is going to probably play out over the next 7 months to a year because of the intensity of what's going on. Meaning, we have to be very, very vigilant in this process, okay? So I need the men to be strong. We need the men to be strong, not just me. We need the men to be strong. Keep in mind, we have a very soy boy generation, as they like to call it, where men are no longer men. Boys are not taught to be men. And this is a big problem because we used to have men. There's no such thing as toxic masculinity. We need real masculinity, guys who protect their families, protect their wives, and are strong for them. But on the other hand, at the same time, we also need strong women. We need healthy women, just like we need healthy guys, right? Now, this is my plea to women. Not because I don't want to take care of guys. I like taking care of guys as well. Guys tend to be, unfortunately, not conscious about their health until they break. And that's a problem. I want that to change, and I'll work on that. But I need women to really step up, because this is the issue. You give birth. When you give birth, what you don't realize is it takes a gigantic toll on your body. What I mean by that is, from a healthcare standpoint, you lose your mineral base when that happens. We're talking copper, magnesium, calcium, manganese, all the different minerals, right? And there's obviously tons and tons of minerals plus trace minerals. Having a child takes energy and takes nutrition out of your body. So the reason I'm making a plea to women tonight is because we need you strong as well. And you're not strong. Do you know why I know that? Because every single day in my office, I get women coming in or calling on the phone that are struggling. They're exhausted. Their cycles are all over the place. They're on at least 3, 4, 5 medications or more. And they're getting younger and younger. It used to be 50, 40, like 50-year-olds, right? Now we're down into the 30s. And sometimes we have 20-year-olds and teenagers coming in completely broken already. All right? And so they're exhausted. We're seeing Lyme across the board. We're seeing tons and tons of autoimmune across the board. And women, I completely respect you because you keep pushing through no matter the cost, because you're on purpose. You're amazing mothers, you're amazing wives, you're amazing spouses, partners, etc., right? And you push, which means you get the job done. And for that, I am eternally grateful for all of you, including my moms, okay? However, if we're going to go into this new world, you have to be strong. And it is your responsibility to get yourself taken care of. What I typically hear is, well, I want to take care of everyone else first, my kids and my husband. No, that's BS. You know what that is? That's not taking responsibility. And I can preach to you not being a female because, one, I see my wife put women through it all the time, but I also take on women. And they want to put everyone else before themselves. But you know what? We actually had a 41-year-old woman this week who she died after a surgery that she should have never had to have, and she didn't have kids, right? Because what happened was she was listening to the medical model. They kept drugging her. They kept doing all this stuff to her that was not appropriate, but she kept married to the medical model. 41 years old, and trust me, I saw her as recently as probably about 2 weeks ago, and I remember her leaving the office saying, "Goodbye, Dr. Dean," in her sweet, very, very caring voice. Little did I know that she would be dead not 2 days ago. She was 41 years old. I am seeing 30-year-old women who are torn down, and all they want to do is put everyone else first before themselves. Yet, if they continue on that path, they're going to be literally exhausted and sick in a bed by the time they're 35 and 40 years old. That's what's happening. And then they wonder why they hit premenopause at I've had women coming in who are hitting menopause at 35, 40 years old, and that's completely insane. That is not how your body is supposed to work. Okay? So you need to dive in and take responsibility for yourself, or you're going to have problems as we go into this spiritual battle for the next 6 months, a year, 2 years down the road, right? You should not have headaches all the time. You should not have digestive upset all the time. You should not have pain all the time. You should not have fibromyalgia. You should not have arthritis. All of these things are garbage pail diagnosis, because what's happening is they've created a terrible food system for you. They're destroying your body with genetically modified organisms. If you want a reason to eat organic now, just know that Bill Gates not only wants vaccines, he's playing with your food. He's creating GMO foods by altering God's DNA, and that is going into your body and altering your hormones and altering your DNA, as well as your kids and your family. Okay? This cannot keep going on. And I will tell you from personal experience, my wife will do a video on this. Everyone thinks that that's how a female is supposed to feel. A female is supposed to have a horrible cycle every single month. That is completely BS. The only reason you should even know about a cycle, and sorry guys, I'm talking about this, but the only reason you should even know your cycle is there because you go to the bathroom and it's there. That's how you should know. There should be no cramping. There should be no migraines. There should be no headaches. There should be no going in a room and sleeping for a week or a few days, whatever that is. That is not how your amazing body is supposed to work. And just like when you're in an airplane and they tell you, do not put the mask on your kid first, you put it on yourself first. If you are going to be the strong female that America needs, you must be selfish and take care of yourself first. Then you fix the kids. Then you fix the husband. You actually should fix the parents first. Then we take care of the kids. The kids are actually easy, to be honest with you. But this is getting completely out of control, and it's getting worse and worse every single day that we're in practice. My wife is 42 years old, potentially wanting to have another child, and she has no headaches. She has no cycle issues. She's automatic every single month like clockwork. She does not have a bunch of digestive upset. She doesn't have all of these different array of symptoms that, ladies, you guys are dealing with. You guys are putting up with way too much when it comes to health. You are allowing the medical system to guide you down a very dangerous road, and then you're diving into hysterectomies and you're diving into fertility stuff and all that. Your body was designed to work properly, and they have bought and paid for you into their system to treat you as a commodity. And then the next thing you know, you have breast cancer, you have thyroid problems, right? When your hair is falling out, when your weight is skyrocketing, and when your temperatures are all over the place and you're having trouble ovulating and having kids, it's because they destroyed your thyroid. They absolutely destroyed your thyroid. And then you go, well, the blood work came back and everything was fine. Those are called false positives. Your blood work comes back. Blood work is not the only indicator of thyroid issues. But I hammer on this because I see it every day, and I feel horrible for women who are trying to have families, who are trying. I mean, they push through exhaustion every single day. I see this every single day. And if we're going to create this American family the way we need to, trust me, they broke apart the family on purpose. We've talked about this. If you'd like to get the family back together, guess what? you have to be a strong female. You have to have a strong supporting partner, husband, spouse, okay? And guess what? You should actually have a sex drive. Shocking, right? They've broken you apart to the point where male and female don't even talk that much anymore. There's no dinner. There's no sex in the relationship. And yes, I'll talk about that too. I don't really care. We were designed to be together, to create family units, to be strong together. This is what they've done as a whole world order, is to destroy the family and to take all of this away from us. We need to put all of this back together, okay? This is literally, I talked to a person today regarding the protests that are going to be happening around the country to get everyone back to work. And what he told me was what I completely agree with. The reason why they've been able to overtake us on all of this stuff, including our healthcare, they've divided and conquered. They've got us completely unorganized. Our healthcare is completely unorganized. Unorganized to the point where they're destroying us. Organization means you get healthy. You put your family back together. We get the kids taken care of. We get them off drugs. We get them off medications. We get them educated properly. When you have that, you have family units across America that all come together for one purpose. And that's when we win the battle. That's when we win the spiritual and physical war. So ladies, let's get it together. Guys, same thing. I'll preach to you later. You got to get it together. If you're going to be mentally and physically strong, we have to put this back together. That was my preaching and ranting for the night. I hope you all appreciated that, because every once in a while I get on fire, but that's what's occurring, okay? So you need to reach out for people to help you. If that's local, if that's me, that's fine. Either way, and trust me, there are tons of people on here that are willing to help you. If you want me, come grab me. That's fine. But either way, we must put this back on purpose. If you look at my Facebook header, my purpose is to not only expose what's going on, but we have to put our family and our country back together, going back to our ancestral roots. There is hidden information in these bodies that knows exactly how to heal, but you have to put the knowledge with the ingredients to do it. Okay? I hope that helps. I'm going to take like one or two questions because I've gone way over time with my rant, but I hope it helped. I appreciate you listening to me. Let's see. Yeah, sex drive is lagging. Man, ladies. Okay, so I'll get personal here regarding sex drive. Guys, we are like a on-off switch for the most part. There's some guys out there that have problems, okay? Guys are on-off switches. We're considered cavemen. Sex comes very easily to us. It's not a big deal. Ladies, it's not the same. And it doesn't mean you shouldn't be the same. If your body is operating correctly, you actually should be more of an on-off switch. Now, women is a little different for that whole sexual process, but still, women should desire just as much as men. There should not be a lag there. If there is a lag there, there is a problem. And the problem is not that you're crazy or you're psycho or anything like that. The problem is they've screwed up your hormones, right? And there's no drive, all right? Good. That's that. All right, let me get a couple questions. Let's see. Okay, everyone likes me preaching. I'm glad. Okay, good. Let's see. Good. A couple questions here. I know there's a little lag between me talking and what you guys are getting because that's how the streaming works. But let me look up here. Good. I love that I'm your nightly news. I appreciate that. I will be on as long as you guys will have me. And by the way, this is going to be a long haul of a operation, so I hope you plan on having me for the next 7 months or longer. I will be here for you if you want me here for you, okay? Okay, relate the HIPAA. So everyone panicked over the HIPAA thing. One, first of all, always tackle it as a constitutional violation. Wearing a mask is a constitutional violation. Okay, how do I tie it to HIPAA? Well, first of all, nurses understand this in the vaccine world, right? Because it points them out as not having been vaccinated. So HIPAA, when you come to my office, you have to sign off on forms that I will not allow your privacy out. Now that privacy, a lot of people will say that privacy is strictly for digital or communications or anything like that. Technically, no. Privacy goes deeper than that. When you make me wear a mask and I have to wear a mask, unless you're doing that because I actually have a condition, you have violated my privacy. Now, you would have to get an attorney, obviously, to handle this, but my privacy is violated once you make me do something, because then at that point, someone might think that I have a disease or have a problem. I do not, and I never signed. By the way, any public health officials that are telling me what to do, I never signed off on any of them telling me what to do. They are not responsible for my health. They are not responsible for how I carry myself in a medical manner around the world. And so therefore, they have violated my privacy rights. That is how I go with that one, okay? And I get fired up about that too, because that drives me up a wall. Okay, good. Let's see. Good. Just looking for some. I'm going to give you 2 more questions. I'm going to do 2 more questions because I'm over an hour tonight. Can you touch on the exosomes and the theories doctors have been talking about? Like, so exosomes means that it is cellular debris being excreted out of the cell. That's where Dr. Cohen's information comes in, and that is actually true. So a lot of times with patients, when they first start detoxing, they'll actually have flu-like symptoms. It doesn't mean you have the flu, because that's actually what a virus is. So the exosomes are excretions out of cells, detoxing out cellular debris. Okay, good. 1 more question and then we'll go, because I don't want to keep you guys forever, even though you guys will probably stay up all night now. Okay. Let's see. I'm looking for. Okay. Would you be able to recommend a pediatrician who don't push vaccines? It depends on where you live. In Florida, yes, I can help you with that. In Florida, I can help you with that. Other places, we'd have to look stuff up. Houston, Texas, Police Officers Union refused to turn people. Yeah, see? So the police, there's a video of a police going out there who was arresting a woman who was letting her kids play on the playground. That is completely unconstitutional. I hope that goes viral, because the police uphold the Constitution, right? So that's a big problem. Good. Forrest from Twitter Periscope is asking, Forrest, get a hold of me on Twitter. You can private message me. I will help you out. It's not a problem. Okay, good. Last question. If you have any health questions and I don't get to them on here, it's because there's so many. You can always email me, gethealthy@drjasondean.com, gethealthy@drjasondean.com. You can also private message me on any of the social media, and I'll get to you as fast as humanly possible. I'm happy to help you. Do I have any connections to holistic doctors in, I'm assuming that's North Dakota? I will have to look. If there is, I will connect you with them. If there is not, I will take care of you from a distance. Okay, good. Last one. Let's see, last one. Okay. Last one. Okay, this is the last one because it's a controversial subject, okay? What is some of the best things for sex drive? We'll talk about sex tonight, okay? I didn't expect to be talking about sex tonight, but let's go for it. Sex drive, okay? Your endocrine system has to be up to par, meaning your adrenals, your thyroid, your pituitary, your hypothalamus, they drive the hormones, but also your reproductive organs. So if you're a female, your ovaries have to be hormone balanced. That's not happening today because of all of the estrogen. I mean, your hormones are being affected at every level. Like when you touch plastic, when you drink from plastic, your hormones are being affected. Now, I'm not going to say that you obviously can never drink from plastic again. I understand that it's hard to keep control of your environment completely. But the biggest things you can do right from the start is you need to eat. You need to eat organic, grass-fed meats. Some people will ask me now, what about plant-based? You have to be very careful on plant-based. 1, to get enough protein. 2, to get enough fats, because fat and cholesterol fat is a precursor to cholesterol. Cholesterol is a precursor to hormones. If you are not taking in enough cholesterol, you will not have hormones. They have turned you into a low-fat person. Low fat will destroy your hormones every single time. So would you like to get your sex drive up? Put in really good grass-fed organic meats. Put in really good fats like butter, olive oils, coconut oils, etc. And then you'll actually bring your hormones back up, because that's a precursor to hormones. The biggest danger, someone saying humans aren't carnivores by nature, that's completely untrue. We were a caveman before we ever ate plants. The plant-based movement right now, I will tell you, is a genetic modified movement. That's what it is. You show me one plant-based individual who is not taking in massive amounts of carbs. They're very few and far between, and plant-based is the agenda of the genetically modified movement. That's what they're doing. They are trying to get you on plants that will destroy your body and your DNA. We are not fruit eaters. We are not just vegetable eaters. Absolutely. I mean, the science is coming out now. The science is coming out that we need to go back to a organic, pasture-raised meat diet with wild game if possible, okay? This plant-based diet, I'm telling you right now, anybody who's going down the plant-based movement diet trend, in the beginning you'll feel great because essentially you're detoxifying yourself, okay? However, it almost never fails, and every once in a while you get somebody who's been in plant-based for like 40 years and they think that they're doing great and everything else. Their body starts withering away. You're seeing a massive movement right now of vegans and vegetarians going back to meats because they get sick. Your body cannot operate on that. On top of that, all of your major plant-based things like the corns and the soys and the tofu and everything else are genetically modified. They destroy your hormones. And then all fruit, so just so you know, is genetically modified. When you go to the store and you buy fruit today, even organic fruit, that fruit is not the same fruit that it used to be. They've modified all this stuff. Some people will say we adapt to it. We do not adapt to genetic modification. It has changed our bodies. We have to change our bodies back. Okay, good. I hope that helps, guys. That is the last question. I will check through your comments as best as possible. If I did not get to you and you're dying for me to answer something or help you with something, please email me or message me, and I will do the best. And Dr. McFadden came on, and he is giving you a discount code for the t-shirts. So I'm signing off with my Straight Outta China shirt, and then I have another one waiting ready to go. I'll show you that one. I'm not going to tell you what it is, okay? Yes, keto. So Dr. Dean eats mostly keto and mostly carnivore diet, okay? And I have zero problems. The cough has nothing to do with the diet. The cough has to do with adrenal glands that I've worked on for a long period of time, and they're actually getting so much better. But also, I don't know if I've told you this, that I have a low level of Lyme in my chest, okay? So I came from the Northeast. I picked it up from really crappy eating, glyphosate, etc., and I'm actually detoxing all that out. So that's why you get this sometimes. Don't worry, it will go away completely. Ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate all of you. It's been a wonderful Wednesday night. I'll be back here, same bat channel, same bat time tomorrow night to bring you the latest. And I hope you don't I hope you get used to my face, because I will be with you for a long period of time, helping you navigate through this thing we call America and planet Earth, and how we get to the end, and how we actually beat and defeat this darkness, and how we win all of our lives back, and how to create a better America, better countries, and a better planet Earth. Go help somebody, go serve somebody, take care of somebody. We love you all. Be well, be healthy. Dr. Jason Dean, Revolution Network, signing off. Have a wonderful night. Take care.